Hey, learner, you ready for this? We're going deep on this one, like way deep into the future of medicine. We're going to be talking about AI and how it's changing the game when it comes to diagnosing cancer.
Yeah, not even just changing it. I'd say it's totally shaking things up.
I like that. We're talking about catching cancer earlier, faster, and way more accurately than ever before. And get this, by analyzing images of tissue samples. We're not talking about some science fiction fantasy here. There's a new paper out in Nature. It details a new AI model. It's called Chief, and it's already making a huge splash.
It's seriously groundbreaking stuff. We've been relying on pathologists to analyze these tissue samples under microscopes for ages, which is super important, of course, but it takes a long time and there's always some variation.
Right. Because you get different pathologists who might interpret things a bit differently, right? And you get different lab equipment that can also impact the results.
Absolutely. That's precisely where Chief comes in. It's trained on an absolutely massive amount of data, 44 terabytes to be exact. And this data comes from a huge range of cancer types and labs all over the world.
So instead of just learning what a cancerous cell looks like from one specific image, Chief has seen it all. Different equipment, different labs, different variations of the same thing.
Right.
Like how we can still recognize a cat even if it's a different breed or if the lighting's a bit weird.
Perfect analogy. It's this ability to, to generalize across all those different variations that makes Chief so powerful. And it actually does this using some pretty remarkable AI techniques.
Okay, so lay it on me. How does this superpowered AI microscope actually work?
Well, picture a kid, right, learning about the world. They don't have names for things yet. They just see shapes and colors at first. They might not know what you mean by square or red, but they start to recognize patterns. That's basically what Chief does in its first phase of training. Unsupervised pre-training. It goes through millions and millions of unlabeled image tiles, and it starts to pick up on the basic visual language of tissues.
So it's like building up a vocabulary before you get to the grammar.
Exactly. Then we move on to the grammar stage, weekly supervised pre-training. This is where Chief goes to the next level. This time it looks at 60,000 whole slide images. Now these images have labels telling Chief what type of cancer is present. So now it starts connecting those initial patterns it learned to the bigger picture. It begins to recognize those arrangements of cells and structures that are, like the hallmarks of different cancers.
So going from recognizing individual words to understanding full sentences, paragraphs, the whole shebang, that's amazing.
It really is. And it's this two-pronged approach that allows Chief to be so accurate in its analysis.
Okay, I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about diagnosis, right? Is that all Chief can do?
Oh, no. We're just getting started. The truly incredible thing is that Chief can do so much more than just identify cancer. It can actually predict things like genetic mutations within the tumor, which has huge implications for how we personalize treatment. You're thinking about targeted therapies, right? Matching the right treatment to the specific genetic makeup of the patient's tumor.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that kind of like the holy grail of cancer treatment? Using someone's own genetic information to figure out the absolute best way to treat them.
It is, and Chief is getting us closer to that becoming a reality. In the Nature paper, they found that Chief was able to predict the presence of specific genetic mutations in the tumor just by analyzing those tissue images.
Wait, hold on. So you're telling me that Chief can look at the way the cells are arranged and say, hey, there's a chance this tumor has a mutation in it, like gene X.
Precisely. And they tested this on a bunch of different mutations, including TP53, which pops up in all kinds of cancers. And get this, Chief even found mutations in some of the less common genes, like BAPU1 in uveal melanoma. That's a type of eye cancer.
No way. It's like Chief has this sixth sense for spotting these genetic red flags that might have totally flown under the radar otherwise. What kind of accuracy are we talking about here?
Well, for something like TP53 mutations, Chief had a 92% accuracy rate, which is way better than any other AI models out there. And what's even more impressive is that it did this consistently across different types of cancer, which shows just how powerful it is.
92%, you're kidding me. That's huge. That kind of accuracy could totally change how we diagnose and treat cancer. But it also gets me thinking about the bigger picture here.
What do you mean?
Well, if Chief can predict genetic mutations like that, and maybe even how someone might respond to a certain treatment, What does that even mean for the future of pathology? Are we talking about a world where AI just takes over the whole diagnostic process?
That's a great question, and it's something that everyone in the medical field is talking about right now. Here's the thing. Chief is a super powerful tool, no doubt, but it's still just that, a tool.
So we shouldn't be picturing like robots roaming around hospitals making diagnoses without any human input.
Not exactly. The real magic happens when you bring together the power of AI, like Chief, with the experience and knowledge of actual pathologists. It's about collaboration. Think of Chief as like a super-powered assistant.
So like having a second pair of eyes. But these eyes can analyze information and see patterns way beyond what we're capable of.
Exactly. Chief can look at those images so fast and with such incredible accuracy. It can pick out areas of concern and highlight things that need further investigation. But in the end, it's still up to the pathologist. With their years of training and intuition, they're the ones who interpret those findings and make the final call.
So it's more about enhancing what humans can do, not replacing them altogether.
Right, and that's why this idea of transparency is so important. It's not enough for Chief to just be like, hey, here's the diagnosis, or this is what's going to happen. We have to understand how it's getting those answers.
Right, otherwise it's just this black box, right? It's like
Right.
Data goes in, answers come out, but we have no clue what's going on inside.
Exactly. And that lack of transparency can make it hard for people to trust the technology. I'm talking about doctors and patients. Imagine a doctor trying to explain a diagnosis that's based on an AI's prediction, but they can't actually explain why the AI came up with that prediction. That wouldn't exactly inspire confidence, would it?
Not at all. It'd be like, oh, the computer says you have this. End of story. So how do we fix that? How do we make Chief more transparent?
Well, the good news is that the team behind Chief was thinking about this from the very beginning. They actually designed it in a way that allows us to understand how it makes decisions to a certain extent. So experts can actually go in and look at Chief's decision-making process. They can see what features or patterns it thought were important in getting to that conclusion.
So it's like we can peek behind the curtain and get a glimpse into Chief's thought process.
You got it. And this is going to be crucial for building trust in the technology, not just for doctors and scientists, but for the patients who are directly impacted by it,
Yeah, being able to understand how these AI systems work, it's going to be so important for using them responsibly and ethically in healthcare. It sounds like Chief isn't just about pushing the limits of what's possible with AI. It's about doing it in a way that benefits everyone, especially the patients.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about using this incredible technology to actually improve healthcare for everyone while making sure that the human element stays right at the center of it all.
It's almost like Chief is, I don't know, it's not just reading the book of a patient's tumor, it's giving us like footnotes and annotations, explaining how it's getting there.
Now, that is a fantastic way to put it. I like that. And as this technology gets even more, advanced, we can expect even more of that, more transparency, easier to understand, so everyone feels comfortable with these AI-driven insights.
So where does this leave us, learner? It feels like we're at this real turning point in medicine. AI models like Chief, they have the potential to completely change the game when it comes to diagnosing and treating cancer. And maybe even other diseases down the line, right?
Absolutely. We could be talking about diagnoses happening faster and with way more accuracy. That means we can intervene earlier and hopefully see better outcomes for patients.
And not just better outcomes, but like we were talking about, more personalized treatment plans based on the genetic blueprint of their tumor.
Exactly. It's a really exciting time to be doing this work. And honestly, the possibilities seem pretty much endless.
It's like we're standing on the edge of this whole new era, this new era of AI-powered medicine. It's pretty mind-blowing.
And the best part is, we're just getting started. As we keep refining these models and figuring out how to best use them in the real world, well, I think we're going to see some seriously amazing advancements in the next few years, stuff we can't even imagine right now.
A future where AI isn't replacing doctors, but is giving them superpowers, helping them understand these complex diseases better, and helping provide better care for their patients.
And a future, hopefully, where diseases like cancer are, diagnosed way earlier, treated more effectively, a future where they don't hold the same fear that they do today.
That's a future I'm definitely on board with. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the future of medicine, learner. And until next time, stay curious.